Howdy, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody's doing good. Happy Friday. Oh man, it's getting pretty hot outside. I had to go clean the pool out for the kids later, so that way they have something to do. But today, just wanted to get into um, the soul, who we are, why we're here, um, what we know from what we've heard through ancient texts as far as the creation of human beings and the essence of what we are. Um, this is something that, to me, um, oops, sorry, to me, really resonates because um, anytime you are dealing with um, spiritual aspects of who we are and what we are and how we got here, it's always good to be open-minded. I've learned that being raised in, you know, a religious home, that not everything that I thought was truth turned out to be such. I'm not saying that what I believe or what I'm saying is, you know, you need to take it for what it is and that's it. No, what I'm saying is this, is that coming from a place where I have understood that, this box that we were given, that was all. And anything outside of that narrative was something that was not condoned. Um, call it what you will, satanic, demonic, from the devil, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is, it's the same mindset that was happening during the 1600s, during the Inquisition, when they were burning people for talking differently about things that didn't correlate with what was lining up with the Bible or the church, the Catholic Church at the time. And not a lot of people understand that we're at an age and time now that the things that we are talking about and discussing are things that our ancestors and people before us who were around at that time, our bloodlines, were being murdered for. If you don't fall in line and you don't believe exactly what we're telling you, that this is the truth, to the fire stake with you, and that's pretty sad that it, was that way. But as I said, I believe that this thinking, excuse me, this thinking led to the destruction of so much evidence and so much history of who we are and where we come from, that we will probably, sorry. All right. Trying not to get this crazy, but um, we will probably never see a lot of ancient texts or books or notes or things that were um, passed down through the ages that were of knowledgeable fortitude for people who are seeking the truth. And I say this, with a heavy heart, because when you do a lot of research and you see that through the ages, through wars, and through the destruction or the conquering of civilizations, um, at the seat of this, you have, which came about was the church. The hoarding of knowledge, the hoarding of information that was kept in sacred uh, libraries, such as the Library of Alexandria, which we do know was one of the most rich and vast um, libraries in its time. When the burning of Alexandria took place, um, we find that a lot of this stuff either was destroyed or was taken. Um, you have the great Egyptian library that was said to be a mass collection of knowledge and information that is supposedly still there. There are still things that are hidden in Egypt that we have not found yet. Um, that is discussed in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That the information and the knowledge that was given to men or was given to those who seek that knowledge, the keepers of that knowledge, some of this stuff was actually put in a place where it was not going to be revealed to those that didn't, just, weren't at that level of ascension or at that vibrance with the universe, to be able to understand and depict what it was saying or needed to be said at a time when human beings or the creation of the s- the star gods, as ancient texts call them, or the gods who came from the sky. um, it would not be revealed to us until we were ready to accept it, um, and understand it, until we were at that level of understanding. And I think that we are getting close to that time, um, with everything that we are seeing, on Earth, and what is happening now with the shift of consciousness, through people who are or are seeing what is really going on. Let's see, is this thing gonna work? Turn this off real quick. Taking a minute, but um, um, oops. Anyway, just I was looking through the compendium of Emerald Tablets, that was written by Billy Carson, and I'm gonna have to read this again, but I did mark a lot of stuff that was you know mind blowing to me, that I was just captivated by, because it made so much sense that we as human beings do not understand that this body that we are occupying is a body. It's just a shell. It's a vessel to use to walk around or be in this um, dimension. And I say dimension, people think, oh man, like outer space or something, or they see movies and it's like, oh well, I got to pass through a wormhole to get to a different dimension. When you look at things like the Emerald Tablet, the Sumerian tablets, um, other ancient knowledge and texts, that you find that we in this body, what we see here, what we see around us, is a 3D world. There are other dimensions, and we know that there are other dimensions because physicists and scientists have come out and said, yes, there are at least 10 other dimensions that we know of. Let me see if I can pull this up of uh, a video of them talking about this. But this was always just fascinating to me. As I said, that just being of a young mind and seeing and experiencing things and saying, okay, well, this is just awkward because if I'm dreaming and I'm able to see this or experience this, that's another dimension because you're not physically here in this realm. Um, I've said this before is that um, people who have studied this, I mean, you've got mystics, you've got gurus, you've got spiritualists who are at that level with um, their spirituality that they're able to discern and understand and control these aspects of dimensions. And they are able to transfer their spirit consciousness to these dimensions back and forth. Um, say that it is possible for you to control that aspect of your spirit mind and be able to ascend or control your travel through these multi dimensions. There's a video. This is the video I believe I was talking about of Michio Kaku, I believe is his name. And we'll take a look at it, and he's going to describe a little bit about what I'm, talking about. Yeah. And like I said, I try and give what I can as far as, evidence-wise or just research-wise, so that way people can see it for themselves. I know we're like, this guy's just talking to talk, and that's not the case. I'm just sharing this information. That way you're able to look at it and check it for yourselves. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at what he's got to say here.
Andre, we believe, though we cannot yet prove, that our multiverse of universes is 11-dimensional. So think of this 11-dimensional arena. And in this arena, there are bubbles that float. And the skin of the bubble represents an entire universe. So we're like flies trapped on flypaper. We're on the skin of a bubble. It's a 3-dimensional bubble. The 3-dimensional bubble is expanding, and that's called the Big Bang Theory. And sometimes these bubbles can bump into each other. Sometimes they can split apart, and that, we think, is the Big Bang. So we even have a theory of the Big Bang itself. Now you ask a question, what about the dimensions of each bubble? Well, in string theory, which is what I do for a living, that's my day job, in string theory, we can have bubbles of different dimensions. The highest dimension is 11. You cannot go beyond 11 because universes become unstable beyond 11. If I write down the theory of a 13, 15-dimensional universe, it's unstable, and it collapses down to an 11-dimensional universe. But within 11 dimensions, you can have bubbles that are 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional. These are membranes. So for short, we call them branes. So these branes can exist in different dimensions. And let's say P represents the dimension of each bubble. So we call them P-branes. So a P-brane is a universe in different dimensions floating in a much larger arena. And this larger arena is the hyperspace that I talked about originally. Also remember that each bubble vibrates, and each bubble vibrating creates music. The music of these membranes is the subatomic particles. Each subatomic particle represents a note on a vibrating string or vibrating membranes. So believe it or not, we now have a candidate for the mind of God that Albert Einstein wrote about for the last 30 years of his life. The mind of God in this picture would be cosmic music resonating throughout 11-dimensional hyperspace.
All right, so there you have him talking about their theory of what they believe are the dimensions and how they're formed and what they're made out of. Now, as I said before, there are different theories or different variations of what is known to be dimensional planes. Um, so when you talk about the, oops, excuse me, when you talk about how we, the membrane of where we are is a big bubble, that's our three dimension, or the whole core of it. And then within it, there are fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th dimension that he's saying. The theory is that you can't go past that because outside of that, it becomes unstable. Um, in the book of, in the Emerald Tablets, those talks about him being able to transcend through these dimensions. Um, and you call them multiverses. There are many universes that we have not. Well, I know I haven't. I haven't traveled. I mean, not, maybe I have. I don't know. Subconsciously, but we as spirit beings. I'm going to get back to that right now and just focus on that real quick. Is that we as spirit beings are in these bodies and we resonate with the sound vibrations and the levels that we're on. So depending on where your consciousness is and where you're at, elevates you to where, what plane of a dimensional plane that you're on. Now, what are we? In the beginning, if you're a Christian or you're a religious person, it says that God created man and he formed him from the dust of the earth in his image and breathed life into this being. Now, pretty much what it means is that God is putting his essence of who he is into this being and making a man. Okay. Now, that essence of who we are is what we call a spirit. Because I've said this before in another episode where I've talked about that, where if you are sitting down or you're looking at something or you're, just quiet and you're talking to yourself in your head and you can hear yourself talking, that's your spirit. That's the essence of you. That's you. This flesh that you see is just a withering shell. The essence of who you are will continue to go on as you sleep. You're awake. Your spirit body becomes awake. Now, for those who are at an ascension level or at a different vibration where they're able to control this, where they go to sleep and they're able to transcend this dimension or other dimensions, that takes a lot of practice. Um, I wanted to share this where it says, where it talks about where Thoth is saying that we are cosmic beings and that the essence of who we are uh, is of the stars because that is where we come from. And like I said, this is, you take it with a grain of salt how you want to. But it's just something that as you look into it, it's all on what you want to believe. Um, if you want to believe that, God made you and he created you and that, that's all there is and that everything else that has been here around for eons before that, which was just adapted from old texts, then as I said, And right here, which one is this one? Um, Spaceborne, he calls it. The Emerald Tablet, the fourth one. He says, "Let ye, O man, the voice of wisdom, list the voice of Thoth the Atlantean. Freely I give thee of my wisdom, gathered from the time and space of this cycle. Master of the mysteries and the son of the morning, living forever a child of the light, and shining with brightness the star of the morning." So, what he's saying here is he's referring to the cycle and the rise and fall of civilizations, just as the Mayans believe that there were already been four worlds that had preceded them during their time. And as I stated before, it's going to get into right now what I was talking about, the cycles and the vibrations, and that we are moving into the fifth world now as we enter the age of Aquarius. And Thoth says, "Though the teacher of men is of all, long time ago I in my childhood lay neath the stars on long buried Atlantis, and dreaming of the mysteries of for above men, then in my heart greweth there a great longing to conquer the pathway that led to the stars. Year after year I sought after wisdom and seeking new knowledge, following the way until at last my soul in great travail broke from its bondage and bounded away." So it says this statement that he's referring to here is talking about the ascension, the astral projection as we know it, outer body experiences. So the configuration of the star tehedron is formed within the first 8 cells of life, and it remains fixed at the base of the spine through one's life, known as esoteric knowledge of ancient Egypt as the Merkaba. Mer, meaning light, Ka, meaning spirit, Ba, meaning body. The star tehedron also models the energetic body of the human being, the blending of heaven and earth, male and female. Tetrahedron is ubiquitous throughout nature because the 64 tehedron grid is the structure of the vacuum, the very fabric of space. This is also basis for the Jewish Star of David. It actually has nothing to do with stars in the sky. It is the inner star within each of us. This symbol can also be found in glyphs in Egypt, Thoth depicted with this symbol in his left hand in the emerald tablets of Thoth. He gives a link to the depiction of the Merkaba uh, design on his Instagram page, and I'm not going to get in that. And he also goes into, because it says that he appears to have mastered the use of this, and historically the Merkaba has been viewed as a chariot or a vehicle that allows a person to ascend into a higher world and even worlds, or descend into lower vibrations, lower worlds. In actuality, however, the Merkaba is much more than a vehicle that escorts people to different worlds. It's a primal pattern attributed with creating all things and all universe, visible and invisible. For more information, go ahead and read The Secrets of the Flower of Life. In the Bible, there are references to Ezekiel and the wheels by which Ezekiel ascended into heaven, and this was the Merkaba. In the Torah, there is reference to the Merkaba as it is spelled in Hebrew, which has to be different in meaning. Meaning is chariot, which is a vehicle, and the other is the throne of God. When the two definitions are combined, the true meaning comes to life. In ancient Egypt, this primal pattern was called the Merkaba. It was actually 3 words, not one. Mer meant a kind of light that rotated within yourself. Ka meant the spirit, in this case referring to the human spirit, the essence of who we are. Ba meaning the human body, and though it also could mean the concept of reality and the spirit that holds. And so the entire word of the ancient Egypt referred to a rotating light that would take the spirit and the body from one world to another. So Thoth speaks and he says, "Free was I from bondage of earthmen. Free from the body I flashed through the night. Unlocked at last for me was the star space. Free was I from the bondage of night, and now to the end of space sought I wisdom. For beyond knowledge of infinite man, far into space my soul traveled freely." Into infinity's cycle of light, strange beyond knowledge were some of the planets, great and gigantic beyond dreams of all men. Yet found I law and all of its beauty working through and among them as here among the men. Flash forth my soul through infinity's beauty, far through space I flew with my thoughts. So, as talking about it, he's saying that he dreamt of doing this and he mastered the ability to do that, which was sleeping or getting into a state of consciousness where our spirit was able to um, astral travel through other worlds and other dimensions, and he actually sat and you know conversed with these people in other planets. Said, place in my mind, place the image thou desireth. He's telling you, he's describing how to do it. Okay. Learning that man is truly spaceborne, meaning we are children of an alien race, or not from this planet. Thoth saying that we are made of atoms. Our bodies are nothing but planets revolving. Thoth has made another direct reference, synchronizing with the universal consciousness in order to obtain knowledge and wisdom. He says, hark ye, O man, and know of thy bondage. Know how to free thyself, and from this toils. Out of the darkness shall you rise upward, one with the light and one with the stars. Follow ye ever the path of wisdom. Only by this can ye rise from below. Every man's destiny leads him onward into curves of infinity's all. Know ye, O man, that all space is ordered. Only by order are ye one with the all. Order and balance are the law of the cosmos, and follow, and ye shall be one with all. He who would follow the pathway of wisdom, open must be he to the flower of life, extending his consciousness out of the darkness, flowing through time and space in the all. Now, what I'm getting from this is that he's saying, he who would follow the pathway of wisdom, open must be he to the flower of life, extending his consciousness out of the darkness. Meaning that people who are still in that bondage of not being able to understand that we are more than what we are thinking we are. Oh, well, this is all there is, and this is all I have. No, you're coming to the knowledge and awakening of understanding, okay, there is something else going on here, and following and seeking that knowledge and understanding of who we are and what we are and what we are capable of, and understanding that we are not just earthbound. We are able to transcend because everything that we are and that we see in the universe is within us. So if everything that is within us that is in the universe, wouldn't that make sense that we are able to connect with those things? If we understand and we get on that vibration and we are on that conscious level of understanding, it seems that that's what he was trying to tell us as far as knowledge wise. Deep in the silence, first ye must linger until at last ye are free from desire, free from the longing to speak in the silence, conquer by silence the bondage of words. Abstain from eating until we have conquered desire for food. That is the bondage of the soul. Then lie ye down in the darkness and close your eyes from the rays of the light. Center thy soul force in the place of thine consciousness. What the heck happened? Close ye your eyes from the rays of the light. Center thy soul force in the place of thine consciousness, shaking it free from the bonds of the night. So what he's saying is that you need to get into a meditative state where you're abstaining from eating, okay? Because the desire of having things is binding your soul. And it's what we call fasting, right? Um, I know growing up in church and stuff and being around my back, being around in the church setting, that, the pastors, you would hear them talking about, you want to be closer with God, and you want to be able to feel that Holy Spirit, and you want to be able to connect with Him and on an intimate level, fast for 3 days, and get your body in that point of refraining and wanting that, because when you can control that, that's what they're talking about, is literally what Thoth is saying, is that we are held by the bondages of this life, that what we hear, what we see, how we talk, what we eat, the desires of the flesh are what hold us and bind us to this earth. So as long as we are bound to those things, and I'm not telling you don't go eat a burger, for Christ's sake, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is this: if you are wanting to be able to get to that higher vibration, okay, and you're wanting to get into that higher gnosis or knowledge or state of ascension, meditate. But as you do that, you need to hark yourself from the things of this flesh, eating, speaking, um, wanting things that are going to harm yourself from being able to get your spirit mind focused on that point of what it is that you're wanting, what you're wanting to focus on. And that's what he's saying, is fast. Cut yourself off from these things. He's saying abstain from eating until we have conquered the desire for food. Not letting that food conquer you. It's the same thing that you hear, these gurus talking about, be the master of those things. Don't let them be the master of you. Then lie down in darkness. Close your eyes from the rays of the light. Center thy soul force in the place of thine consciousness. Focus and center yourself. And you hear gurus and you hear people talking about this who teach yoga or meditation. They tell you, center yourself. Be still. Control your breathing. Focus on the light. Focus on your central energy. And maintain that. Be still. Be in a place of quietness. He says, place in thy mind the image thou desireth. Picture the place thou desireth to see. Vibrate back and forth within your power. Loosen your soul from out of its night. Fiercely must thou shake with all the power until at least thy soul shall be free. Mighty beyond words is the flame of the cosmic, hanging in planes unknown to man, and mighty in balancing, moving in order, music of harmonies far beyond man. And you just heard a physicist talking about the exact same thing, that universes bind on a resonating field. And here you have ancient texts of Thoth talking about this thousands of years before this. So there must be something to who we are as human beings, because he's saying that we are not of this earth. We are children of the stars. Now, going back to the implementing of who we are, and understanding that every essence of universal binding, and the essence of who we are and everything that we see around us, there are levels to our consciousness to work and be able to elevate it. Right here, he says, call to the spirit of the light through the space-time, using the words, and thou shalt be free. Fill thou my body, O spirit of life. Now, these are the words he's saying to speak as you're doing this. Fill thou my body with the spirit of light. So as you're meditating, call this out and say it. Come from the flower that shines through the darkness, and call from the halls where the seven lords rule. He's telling you that the words that you speak, and he's giving you words to speak in order to do these things. Because as we know, speaking these things into existence and the intent and the meaning behind speaking these words is what helps bring forth these things into existence. Whatever it is that you're speaking or you're talking about. So the elevation of one's soul, like if you're saying, I want to be able to be peaceful, I want to be able to stop this addiction or whatever it is, because there's a lot of times that people are struggling with whatever they're struggling with, and they're like, I just can't do it. It's the master of my life instead of me being the master over it. And this, what I'm saying right now through the Emerald Tablets, I found interesting because it hits every aspect of life. If you have something that is controlling you, that is hindering you from elevating yourself, you must learn how to master it, because obviously it's controlling you. It's binding you to this realm because it has control over you, not the other way around. Okay? And that's what he was saying in the verses I was just talking about, is speaking into existence and speaking those things and saying whatever it is, speaking what you want into existence. So one thing that I always found interesting is that the astral projection, or being able to have dreams that seem so real that you were like, it's kind of like those dreams when you're asleep and you're falling and you're like, oh, wake up. It's that. That's your body, your spirit having an experience that brings you back to this realm. It's like, and then you're like, holy crap, because you wake up and you're just jolted because you're experiencing that now. It's connecting you with that realm. Going back to what I was saying about the creation of man, um, and who we are and where we come from and what we are as human, well, star seeds, I guess, people call us star seeds, but human beings, um, astral beings, um, we are of essence not of this world. So if we are not of this world, and our spirit is that traveling essence of being able to traverse this realm, which is why you see a lot of gurus or people or mystics or people who are at that spiritual aspect in their life where they're at that vibration, where they're able to transcend this. They can do it literally on a whim. They can make this stuff happen. It's not like it's just like, well, I gotta go to this place or I gotta go to that. They've mastered it to that level where they're able to transcend and elevate themselves beyond this realm when they choose to, because it's been something that they've practiced, or they've uh, I don't want to say practiced, but um, they've mastered the ability to be at that level. And all this is something that has been told to us for thousands of years. It's who and what we are. Give me a minute. Cool. Sorry, I had to grab something to drink. Thirsty. Um, I'm not sure if um, it's making sense what I'm saying. I know I'm probably going all over the place. I just wanted to discuss it because I'm at that level right now with myself where I'm just trying to understand that everything that is happening to me or around me is not something that, is life threatening, or, you take things and you see things that happen within this life, um, that people get into that fix of, um, damn, I have no way out. And I bring this up, like I said, I just wanted to share that first aspect of that this body that we have is not something that is going to last forever. We as spirit beings, okay? And I say that because that is what we are. We are not, what the heck? Um, there we go. We are not bound to this flesh. Um, we are able to transcend these dimensions if we so choose to. And um, it's really something that, um, experiencing what comes along with that, the heartache, the pain, the happiness, the joy, the suffering, the conflict, that we have, while in this life experience, dealing with the things that we deal with on an everyday basis. In essence, what it is, it's a learning experience. Are we able to handle it? Are we able to deal with these things? Are we able to master this, our reality? Are we able to handle and be able to say, okay, well, this is just an obstacle. This is just something that, okay, I'm not going to let this addiction get to me. I'm not going to let this problem control who I am, and it's not going to hinder me. Understanding that the things that go on around us are things that are just happening from it's not going to last forever. It may hurt, it may be painful, but it is something that we should not let define our spirit nature, because that's what he's saying in the tablets is this: mastering and controlling those things and not letting them control you. Once you can master and control that, you will be able to freely be able to master the ability to traverse between these realms, these dimensions. And our spirit body is not this. It's not this flesh. It is the spirit consciousness that we have inside. Because you can hurt this body and destroy it and do whatever you want. And when you die, the body dies, but the spirit still lives. It's kind of like that old spirit, the gospel saying of feeding your spirit. That's what he's saying. They adapted that same saying from both from the Emerald Tablets. Feed your mind, feed your spirit, gain that knowledge to understand who you are and what you're capable of being. Understanding who you are. As I said, yes, this right here that you're seeing, this is the earthly me, but inside, the spiritual me is something totally different. Totally different. Being able to master those things is what some people have been able to do for a long time. And getting on that level is going to take time. It's going to take mastery. It's going to take practice. It's going to take the knowledge to understanding that. Now, oh man, TT. One big thing is, as I said, people who are struggling with that essence of understanding that being tired, being drug into this level of understanding. I don't want to say, a master, but there are those who are able to do things or transcend this life at will. Um, there was one instance, if you've ever seen it, where Sadhguru talks about his wife. Um, hold on, it's really hot in here. Give me a second. Uh, oof, it is really hot today. But um, Sadhguru talks about his wife, Fiji, and how she was very vibrant and full of life, and how she um, they went to go see um, one of Sadhguru's, I guess, like a teacher or a friend that he had known for a long time. And his teacher had told him, I don't, I'm ready to ascend. I'm ready to leave this life. I've, I've made that conscious decision to make that journey. And he was like, okay, I'll help you. And as they were leaving, um, before that, Sadhguru's friend was telling him, I've experienced the happiness of life. I've watched my children grow up. I've watched things happen. I couldn't be more filled with joy and happiness than I am right now. And I want to make this decision to do this. Now, his wife, hearing this, became very emotional, and it really hit something in her spirit, because when she got up and she left, and Sadhguru said he was there finishing, and he was talking to him, and he'd gotten done, and he walked outside and he asked her, what's wrong? Are you okay? And she told him, I want to do this too. And he said, okay, well, you're caught up in the moment in your feelings, we'll talk about this later. Right now is not really a good time to talk about it, but we'll discuss it later. So months had came by, and she had made that choice, that she had wanted to make that journey to leave this earth willfully, because she was happy, and she told him, I'm not going to be more happier than I am right now. I have a great loving husband. I have a great child. I love my daughter. I'm happy. I have happy, good memories around us. And he said, okay, I will help you to do this. And it's a mastery of training the spirit to be able to focus and use that mental aspect, as well as focusing your spirit to leave. She essentially just left. And Sadhguru was saying, that for her, not being as rich in the aspects as he was, because he's like, even gurus that have been doing this, it takes a long time for them to master this, and for her to do it with such devotion and dedication, he says, I have never, and I probably will never ever see anything like this. But to me, that really touched something in me, because it showed that a lot of people, and I wanted to say something about this in this episode, was that a lot of people deal with that hurt, with a pain, with a sorrow, with torment, um, with conflict within themselves, and they feel that there is no way out. Um, because they don't have that avenue of approach. Nobody's ever told them, or nobody's ever given them or shown them anything. Or maybe there has been people that have taken the horrible way out of ending this press life that they have, that they feel that this realm, this where we live, this dimension is not worth dealing with, and they take the way out. And I would say this to anybody who is dealing with those issues, who has ever had those thoughts, who has ever dealt with pain, struggle, and the thought of suicide, that the battle that happens within one's body and one's spirit is something that I myself have dealt with, dealing with issues that I've had to deal with in my own personal life. Being a military vet, and also dealing with ridiculousness that I've got to deal with. Everybody deals with crap all their life. But there are some people who take that avenue of approach and say, I do not want to fight this battle anymore. And for me, looking at that aspect and having to deal with a lot of stuff, and having to master that myself and overcoming it, is that the battle between what we have, this flesh, and our spirit, is that this is hurting. This mind is hurting. Because as I said before, and it says in the tablets, this body is just a temple. It's just something that is not going to last forever. We travel through planes as birth through to death. And I would say this to anybody who is dealing with those issues, those negative thoughts, those dark places that you go to where you feel like you have no other place and no other choice and no other alternative. And I speak this from my heart because I've lost a lot of good friends. I've lost a lot of good family members that you would think that were happy because they show it on the outside, and they project that falseness in order to mask the pain that is hurting them inside, because they don't have any other way out. Religion's not going to help them. Counseling's not going to help them. Sitting down and talking to them is not going to help them. They've made their choice. They feel like there is no other way but to end this. I would let you know, to those people who are struggling with that, there is an alternative. This life that you live, it hurts. There's going to be pain. There's going to be sorrow. There's going to be torment. There's going to be frustration. There are going to be things that just drive you to your last end. And if you are at that point, understand this, that this life that we are living, we, in essence, are not placed here by mistake. We are not placed here by just some random chance. There is a reasoning and a purpose for your life, for you being here. Now, the karmic decisions that we choose in this life affect us. I've had to learn this by, doing a lot of meditation and a lot of studying, and I will honestly tell you that A lot of people say this. If you've got children, they will say, my children have saved me. They've been my saving grace. And that in itself is true, yes. But thinking about why it is, because you see that as, I have a reason. There is a purpose for me to keep trying to push forward. Now, somebody can say, okay, I don't have that purpose. I don't have a reasoning to be here. If you look at it from a spiritual aspect, you are taking that light or that essence that was placed here for a reasoning and dissipating it. Maybe you might be somebody that could be teaching somebody or helping somebody else. Somebody might want to hear what you have to say. You might be that voice of that person that is going to help somebody who's struggling or dealing with those problems that you're dealing with. We don't have the answers to everything, but the answers that we have might be the answers for somebody. Somebody might need that help. You might be that driving force that somebody needs to say, you know what? I'm going to keep pushing forward. The extinguishing of one's life by your own hands, or choosing to do that, is allowing what is forcing you to be in depression. It allows it to win. I'm not going to give up. As much as it hurts, as much as it pains me, as much grievance, as much turmoil and headaches and struggling that I go through, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep being the driving force, not only in my family's life, but my friends, because they might need help. Someday I might be able to help somebody that's dealing with something and be able to tell them it's going to be okay. Meditation for me has helped me. Understanding who I am and why I'm here. I have not found my purpose. I don't know what it is yet. But if somebody somebody who is dealing with something, who is in pain and in grief, their spirit is in torment. It's like being in a cage. This body is like being in a cage for your spirit, because you don't know how to master it and control it and understand that your essence of who you are is in here. The experiences of life as we go from birth to death is a karmic choice. The paths that we choose day in and day out determine what we experience, our emotional effect. I've used to be a counselor doing drug and alcohol counseling, and I talked to a lot of guys, and I dealt with these guys that had been in prison for years. Thieves, robbers. We had people that had been, sentenced to for murder charges. And sitting down and talking with these guys, and these guys are like, I'm 70 years old. I've wasted all my life. What purpose do I have? But you know what? They keep fighting. That karmic choice that they made when they were younger progressed the outcome of what was happening to them. But they decided to say, enough was enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm making the choice to better myself. And they did it. And for some people, it's hard. I totally get that. I can't, if I could make somebody stop what's going on in their mind and tell them that it's going to be okay and don't do this, and then they don't, and they never think about it again, that would be a perfect world. But it's not that way. It's a karmic choice that we all, each as individuals, have to make. But at least we can sit here and say, you know what? You're not alone. You are not alone. And if you need help, I'm here. People talk about forces of darkness and forces of light and good and evil and bad. That's the flow of the universe. As above, so below, as within, as without. There are going to be things that we deal with on a spiritual basis, um, and how you choose to handle those things, and understanding that, yes, you could put me in jail. I'm going to have to deal with it. It sucks. But is that the end of my life? No. I can still choose to be what I need to be. I can still make those choices and direct my path for my only for my flesh and for my spirit. Man, I got to sit here and work this job every day and, break myself down. Those are your choices. We live this life. There are things that happen to people in this life that it binds us to this dimension, to this plane, that we are not able to see beyond that. We're not able to see beyond tomorrow. We're not able to see that the end narrative. We deal with the here and the now. And those pains and those issues and those things that torment us keep us bound here. Keep us from spiritually saying, okay, you know what? You're not going to win today. I'm able to control this and take control of what I choose to do. But as I said, Thoth speaks about your soul being a light, um, in the darkness. In this world is darkness. And we as human beings, our spirit, our souls are that light. Extinguishing that light allows the darkness to consume more, because it has taken what was given to this plane as knowledgeable and a flame and a light to men on this earth. I love it because he talks so much about this, and it speaks to me. He says, the word that brings about life, saying, O masters of darkness, guide of the way from life unto life. Before thee I bring the son of the morning. Touch him not ever the power of the night, and call not his flame to the darkness of night. Know him, see him. Lifted from darkness into the light, release thou his flame from this bondage. Free let it flame through the darkness of night, and raise then the hand of the figure. Forth came a flame that grew clear and bright, and rolled back swiftly the curtain of darkness. Then grew in the great space before me a flame unto flame. From the veil of the night uncounted millions leaped they before me, some flaming forth as flowers of fire, and some there were that faded swiftly. Others grew from a small spark into a vast light, each surrounded by its dim veil of darkness, yet flaming with light that could never be quenched, coming and going like fireflies in springtime, filled with space, with light and with life. They spoke a voice mighty and solemn, saying, These are the lights that are souls among men, growing and fading, existing forever, changing yet living through death unto life. When they have bloomed into a flower, reaching the zenith of growth in their life, swiftly then send I my veil of darkness. shrouding and changing new forms of life. So grows the souls of men ever upward, quenching yet unquenching by the darkness of night. I, death come, and yet I remain not, for life external exists in all. Only as obstacles, I in the pathway, quick to be conquered by the infinite light. Awaken, ye o flame that burns ever inward. Flame forth and conquer the veil of the night. These sayings to me, what he's saying is that one thing in this is when he says, only an obstacle, I in the pathway. Death is only an obstacle. The Egyptians spoke so highly of death being an illusion, that the death is only the beginning, that this body, when it dies, you leave and you transcend and you go on into your next journey. Whether or not you choose to stay out of this realm, this dimension, or you choose to say, you know what, there's more that I need to learn. I need to come back and finish my stuff. I'm going to do it. With the understanding of knowing that we, as spirit bodies, we are totally different. Um, there is nothing like us on this planet. Do other things have essence to them? Yes, I totally agree. I totally believe with that. Which is why in the ancient Veda texts and in India, they talk about respecting all life, and not just there, but in other cultures, they talk about respecting all life. And that, one funny thing that Sadhguru said when he was doing a speech was is that he was cooking and he was like, "Oh, look at this fly," and he goes, "Some people will smack it." And he's like, "We in our culture believe that Shiva is in all essence in everything. So for us to extinguish that, they fear it because they think, oh well, they might be killing Shiva, and to respect the ants or flowers or bugs or insects or beasts of the earth and birds of the air, everything in this realm has a purpose and a meaning. So for us, just because I'm a human being and I'm bigger than an ant and I go smash it, what gives me the right to extinguish this thing's life? It has a purpose. It's trying to live. And I totally get that. And it's something that I know I'm trying to freaking, you know, get better at understanding and doing, because it's not easy, because you're breaking free of that bondage of thought of, you know, not respecting it and it just being an object. It's just being a thing. Um, that's inanimate to, my purpose, and having to free myself from that and understanding um, that karmic view of uh, life in its essence, with everything being um, purposeful. And that's why I say, with people, if there's somebody that's dealing with um, the thought of committing, you know, the act of suicide, or does not feel their self worth, like I said, you are worthy. You are worth something. You are important. The nature of your life, no matter where you are and what you are doing, if you're in prison, if you're in jail, if you're at the verge of death, if you have sickness, if you feel like there is no way out, like you're in debt or you owe, or you're in a position where you feel like you can't get out, there is always a choice. There is always a way that can be made. And do not ever feel, I mean, I can't tell you what to do. All I'm saying is please understand your worth. Understand that there are people out there who care about you, that love you, And I know, dealing with the aspect of having friends and having loved ones that decide to make that choice, the people who are left to feel that pain and that hurt and that absence becomes a thing of picking up the pieces and saying, well, what could I have done? I caused this. I contributed to this person's feelings because I did not do such and such or whatever. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Ultimately, the karmic decision lies within each of us for our own choices. I cannot be held responsible before what somebody did because they were feeling a certain, you know, like this. This is little things my kids do. I got drawings and awards all over the place. It's like, you know, these things that help us to push forward for that spiritual ascension or the understanding of who we are. I encourage anybody who is seeking this knowledge, who is seeking this understanding, please, please keep pushing forward. If you ever need help, please reach out for it. If you ever need somebody to talk to, please find somebody. We are at a technological age where you can reach somebody at the touch of a button. And the extinguishing of one's light in this darkness only allows the darkness to become more vast. Although it is just temporary, it is an obstacle that we as spirit beings can overcome. Death does not hold its sway over us unless we give it that power, unless we give way to death, unless we say, you know what, I don't care. Death will come for us all. That is just fact. We are born, we die. We live this life to experience everything that we go through. I love how Billy Carson says that we are gods on this earth to experience the essence of how it is to be here in this dimension. We are placed here to experience love, hate, death, pain, suffering, joy, passion, desire. The experience of what we go through from birth till we die. After we leave this plane, we take those experiences and say, man, I learned so much in this life. I had a great life. I had people who cared. I went through so much pain and so much obstacles that I came through it. This is what I learned. This is what I took from this experience. So I know I touched a lot on the aspect of being a spiritual being, and I probably didn't touch on, the spirit being itself. And I know that the flyer said something, like I said, AI did this for me. when I did it, generates the events, and it said something about spiritual ascension. Let me look at it real quick. Everybody, you don't know what the hell you put on here? What kind of crap is that? Um, where are you? Come on. So if you are watching this channel, I appreciate you. I thank you for tuning into this, and I thank you for watching it, because it means that you are seeking that. So something inside of you was like, hey, I need to look into this, or it caught your attention. Hopefully you can look into a lot of this stuff and help yourself, your spirit, reach a higher vibration, to reach a higher ascension, to become more knowledgeable and understanding of what you are capable of doing. We see a lot of these feats throughout history of these extraordinary people, these mighty men and women of renown who were doing things that we would not even think were possible, because they have mastered the element of spirit and flesh and understood that, yes, I can drive this flesh to keep pushing and do things that are incomprehensible, such as walk on water, turn water into wine, levitate, disappear, and show up in one other place. Because they know that this physical plane that we are in, it does not hold sway over what we are inside. We are capable of mastering this design, this matrix that we live in. We master it. We are the masters of it. It's just for us to be here and experience. But the essence of who we are, this plane does not hold sway or does not control the power of what we are and what we are capable of doing. I really hope that um, people understand. And if you're watching this and you've shared it with other people who are looking at it and you've found interest in this, I thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming along and having this discussion. If there is anything, or anybody has any thoughts or any um, notions of what they would like to talk about, I know that we are placed on this earth for a reason. There's a purpose to it. And I understand that we are not of this earth, that we are here sent for this experience of learning and being able to um, master the path and the journey that we are on. I know that times are different. It's not like back when in ancient Egypt. It's not like back, in the Sumerian times, where we would sit all together in a temple or in a room, or I'd walk barefooted and travel through the desert and go speak to groups of people and share this knowledge, or go somewhere and collect this knowledge and seek it out, the truth. Because as I said, in certain time periods, it became illegal in a way. It became a demonic aspect of hiding our true nature. If you were searching out the knowledge and you were seeking a higher level of truth, and it wasn't what they wanted you to be, you hid, because they were going to come looking for you. Nowadays, it's not like that. We have the knowledge and the resources at our hand to understand and study this stuff and become aware of who we are. We are at that age, folks. What he was talking about, what Thoth, the Atlantean, the writer of the Emerald Tablets, the creator and the bringer of knowledge and intellect to those across this globe. What he was saying was that there was going to come a time when this stuff was going to be readily available. You could pick it up like getting an apple from a tree, but it's up to the people who choose to do that, that seek out that knowledge, that want that understanding, that want to elevate themselves. Only to those who seek it will it become what they want. They will find it. And it's just like what Jesus said in the Bible: seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open. Let he who has ears to hear, hear and understand what I'm saying. So I hope that your understanding and your level of experiencing the knowledge, and you're able to share that with others, because I'm still growing myself. I'm still seeking that knowledge. I'm still seeking that understanding. Yes, there are hurdles and there are bounds, but you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing forward, because we are at that age where the knowledge is there. We just got to seek it. And the more of us who seek it and understand and realize the true nature of who we are, then we can all come together and understand that this earth, this place where we live, can be made better. We can bring what we need to bring back as getting humans into that cosmic aspect, the consciousness, but with the physicality of everything and the desire of what is going on, what around us, our bills, our job, our music, our popularity, being famous, the desires of the flesh, as Jesus Christ said. And don't forget, he was a student of ancient Egypt. He studied that, which is why when he went around teaching, he was talking exactly about what Thoth was saying. The desires of the flesh is what's going to hinder your spirit from progressing. It's going to hinder you from becoming what your true nature is. And if you let that go, that's why he would tell the people when he was going, let go of your stuff and come and follow me. You want the knowledge? You want to understand? You want what I have? Give up everything and follow me. I do believe that he was a great teacher. He was one of the men who came and tried to set the path straight, and is still doing so today throughout the word, but it's been distorted so badly that it's leading us in that direction. We're on that plane, but it's not where we're meant to go. That direction and that plane of where human existence, our spirit, of what we are and who we are, is being manipulated to guide people in the wrong direction. Faith is key, yes, but the faith in what is actual, the real truth of the nature of who we are, is not being told. We are being lied to. We've been misled. The words have been distorted. And unless we go out and we seek the true nature and see, okay, well, they got this in this Holy Bible from ancient texts that were telling us this 36,000 years before this thing came along. There's got to be some truth to this. But this has been distorted from the true nature of this. So if the true nature of this was implemented into this, wouldn't you want to go back and look at the true nature of what's being said in this? And correlate it and put it back into what was supposed to be said, the true nature of what we were supposed to be told? Only then can we find what is really going on, folks. And the nature and the essence of that is just, it's mind-blowing once you start getting into it and realizing what's happening. And it's really cool. I think so anyway. Um, as I said, I mean, a lot of people don't see this, um, and go, "Oh yeah, well, I can adhere to that," because they don't want to. They're at that level where they're not. Their vibration level is just going along with what this matrix has already set them up for, and that's what they're doing. They're just going with it. And then you get people who say, there's something different to this. And they're, like it says in the Emerald Tablets, their light starts to blossom. It becomes greater, and it expands that darkness around them. It pushes it back, because then and only then are you able to see a little bit more. And the more you see, and the more knowledge you gain, and the more things that you look into, and the more that your understanding grows, your elevation grows. And oops, sorry. Um, like I said, I mean, I really hope that this helps out, um, whoever is needing to hear this, whoever is needing to uh, understand it. Um, and as I said, I believe that a lot of people who are hurting, like, with dealing with the painful aspects of this life, because they see this and this is all they know, because they don't understand that there is more to what we are. There's a way to master this life, to control it, to make it what you want, to make things happen, because we are the controllers of this. And I know somebody's going right now, well, you know what? I want $1 million. I'm going to speak that into existence right now. That's not how it works. What is money going to do for you? Nothing. Yes, it helps you. It gets things done, because this world says that you need to have it in order to be alive. You need to have this because it says that you need to have it to live. You need to have all this food. You need to have all these clothes. You need to have the latest shoes and the latest fashion and the latest marketing, and you need to be at a high level status. What is it going to do for you? Yeah, it's going to give you pleasure and ecstasy for a minute, but you're going to die. It's so crazy to see the correlation between these ancient scriptures and these ancient texts to what is in the Bible, and to have the knowledge, that knowing that the man who brought this literature is doing exactly what a lot of people are trying to do now. Share with everybody these ancient texts and tell them, look, this flesh is only going to hinder you from becoming what you are supposed to be. And if you can understand that if you build your treasures on this earth, what you get in the afterlife is not going to be anything, because you're putting everything in your effort into stuff that's just going to fade away. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that powerful? The correlation between the two? But one's wrong and one is almighty and right. But the one that's almighty and right is the same thing that they got from the ancient text. You're reading and looking at exactly what they were talking about years before that, thousands of years. So yes, As I said, I've broken away from that bondage of mind mentality of what was being told to me as I was younger, and realizing the full nature of what we are as human beings and what we should be striving for and to be pushing for as beings that are not of this plane. Um, and it's fascinating, because I sit here and I go through life and I do stuff. Like I said before this, I was outside cleaning the pool for the kids, and you know discussing some stuff with our daughter's therapist. And now when I sit here and I think about it, because of what has happened and what's going on in my life, I think, man, these are just things that have been placed before my wife and I to experience, and the challenge of saying, okay, learn from this. Everything in our life has been a learning lesson. How do you deal with it? Okay, this happened, so what's going on? Because now that I'm older, I look back at all my aunts and uncles telling me about things: you should not have done this, or wait till you get older, you'll understand. If I would just have thought, if I would just have taken the time when I was younger to understand what they were telling me, I think my level of consciousness probably would have been elevated when I was younger. I understood things, but I didn't consciously recognize it. It didn't click with me, but it does now. And I think that's why, as we get older, you know, from generation to generation, that you see yourself in your children, you see yourself in your kids, because they are you. That flesh that you're speaking to and you're talking to is you, and and their mother, vice versa. Your very essence of what you are, that makes you you, is in that child. And um, going on to a personal note, um, there are a lot of times I've had talks with my kids, and they're dealing with something. And, I'm sitting there and I'm telling them, I'm talking to them, and I'm like, look, right now it's like me talking to my 12-year-old version of myself. It's like me talking to my 22-year-old self. I just want you to learn from what I went through this. I know what you're feeling. I know that pain. I know what's happening. I'm just telling you from my experience what I learned. It's going to be okay. Do this, don't do this. This is what you can do. Try it out, see if it works for you, but learn. You can overcome whatever is going on with you at this moment. And like I said, I mean, with dealing with the aspect of uh, life and death, that learning experience that we try and help our kids with, it's like, some parents will say, well, I don't want to, interfere in my kids' life. I want them to learn on their own. That's, well, if that's what you choose to do, go for it. But why not say something? A lot of times you hear people say, man, if I could go back in time and tell my younger self, I would do it. And that, for me, that is where I stand. That's where I see things. I try and tell my kids all the time. Because if I could go back and talk to myself, if I could go back and teach myself not to do something or be something, or not to follow something, or not to, um, could you say it, to not follow in that direction. I guess this is kind of like my chance of being able to do that. And excuse me. So me doing that, I see it as an opportunity to be able to give my kids that chance of having somebody tell them, hey, it's going to be all right. This is going to be okay. This isn't going to last forever. Um, and I would really hope that uh, someday when they get older and they have children of their own, they're going to be able to look back at that experience and say, I remember my dad telling me this, and I'm telling you, or I'm trying to help you understand and get through this. But as I said, to each his own. And I, I really pray that um, everybody realizes and is able to um, see their worth, see who they are, and understand, seek that knowledge of becoming um, better aware of the nature of our spiritual aspects, um, and seeing your self-worth. And if at any time you ever need help, or there is something that comes up and you just get stuck in this um, a rut of a space where you're like, man, I'm really having a hard go at this, and I really need help. Uh, I really pray that you meditate and you sit there and you silence what is going on around you and focus on you. Focus on yourself. Focus on that energy. Take the time to center yourself and be quiet, be still, and just breathe and meditate and realize that this is just temporary. It's not going to last. It's not. And, sorry for getting choked up and talking about stuff, but it really gets me emotional speaking about, um, a lot of this stuff because, as I said, losing family members and losing friends, it's not easy because it hurts because now you don't have that chance of physically speaking with those people and telling them it's going to be okay. If I could just hold them and tell them it's all right, it's going to be okay, and be able to speak to them and tell them, as I'm telling everybody, right now, is we love you. And that's what I, would like to say. If there is something that is bothering me, or um, I just need to be able to speak and talk with somebody, I'll talk to my family members. I'll talk to my friends. I'll sit and speak with them. Why? Because as I said, they might not be here in this body. They might not be here in this flesh, but they're around. Why? Because their spirit is made up of energy and it's continuous. As it says also in the Emerald Tablets, that flame is eternal. It doesn't extinguish. It dims. Why? Because that spirit is at that point where it's allowing that reality or that essence of this realm to keep it in that spot. But not when you start feeding it and you start understanding your worth and your spiritual worth, it grows. And you become that light. And you become bigger flame. And sometimes those flames ignite others to become bigger, better, and bigger. And that's what I hope that a lot of people get from watching the episodes and the podcast. Is, like I said, I'm just trying to share that knowledge and have a conversation with everybody and just get pick your brain and just say, hey, what are your thoughts? What do you think? um, what is something that you're doing? What is it that you want to talk about? Is this something that you're interested in? Because I think that a lot more people like sadhgurus or yogis or mystics or people who search and are out there hungry for this knowledge spread the word of the truth and what is really going on. I mean, the power behind what we are is just amazing. And I would just, wish that everybody would break out of this bubble or this, obstacle that's been laid in front of them as being, this is all there is. There is nothing else. You take what we're telling you and that's it. I can tell you right now as a witness to that, there's so much more. So much more that is being hidden and that is not being told to us. We're not being given the whole story. You go in on Sundays and Wednesdays and Mondays and go to your meetings, you're only being given that. That's it. They're telling you that this is it. And if you look outside of this, it's wrong. That right there in itself is the lie that we need to break. And for all those who are seeking this knowledge and all those who are trying to find the truth and what your truth that hits you in your soul, and you say, man, this really jives with me. This really fits. If you choose to stay in that, by all means, please keep doing it. That's your thing. That's your choice. That's your cosmic, karmic choice. But for a lot of us who are out there searching for that answer and who feel that we as spirit beings are worth and are being pulled to that direction of knowing who we are and what we are capable of being, keep seeking, keep looking, keep uncovering those answers. And answers, I pray, find you. I pray they come to you in any form, in books, in a documentary, in a video, and somebody talking and speaking to you. But I pray you find your answers. I pray you find that wisdom, and I pray that you find that elevation for yourself. To each his own. I can't tell you what to feel. I can't tell you what's going to make you happy. I can't tell you. Nobody can. But all we can do is say, to be happy, the happiness is out there. Find it. Don't let the constrictions of what is happening here bind you from elevating yourself. So I pray that you find that, and I pray that you seek it out in whatever avenue or aspect that you do so in. And if somebody that you see or is hurting and is down and they're out and they're just like, man, this is not working for me, just talk to them. Hey, it's going to take a while, but you can get there. And if you're a student of meditation, help them. Invite them over. Hey, do you want to sit and meditate with me? Or hey, look at this. Try this out and see if it works for you. Jesus did the same thing. Jesus sat in the Garden of Gethsemane when he was sitting there and he was praying to God, and he was telling him, if this cup is possible, let it pass from me. He was meditating to his Father. And it's the same thing we all need to do. Sit and meditate. Be still, be quiet, and focus and center on ourselves. This morning when I did that meditation, it's been a while since I've gotten up early in the morning and I've been able to do something like that because I've just been dealing with so much pain in my body because of my back. And I'm trying to get that under control. And it's going into my hips now. And um, just, I've, had my mother-in-law, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but she made me this awesome meditation pillow. Oh man, because it was just hurting so much to sit in a meditation position. I can't do it. I can't hold that position because it just hurts my hips and my lower back and stuff. But meditation for me has been a way of me being able to be still and get that quietness and just focus and center on nothingness. And a lot of times through that, the emotions of what is going on with me, I will just start crying. I don't I don't understand. I mean, the emotions will just hit me. And I think it's just that release from within of letting it go. And if a lot of people understood that just doing that, starting off small, progressing and working your way up will lead to bigger and better things, not just for yourself, but possibly for others around you. I mean, your being affects other people. People see how differently you change and say, man, what have you been doing? Man, you look better, or blah blah blah. And they want to know. And going back to the teachings of Jesus and what he was telling his disciples, look at it from that aspect, because you got to realize something. He was a master. He got taught by the masters in Egypt. He got taught by the Vedas in India. He got taught by the Buddhists in Tibet. This is fact. You can't debate this. The things that he was doing, he came back. That's everything I'm telling you about right now. If you research it and you look up all these ancient texts, everything that was being passed down, the knowledge of wisdom, he was learning. He mastered it from the age of 12 to 32. That's a long time. I wish I would have been able to go from 12 to 32 and be taught by mystics and yogis and healers and be able to sit with ancient Egyptian, scholars and teachers of wisdom. I'd have been probably walking on water too. But that's what I mean, is that level of learning. If you take what he was saying and understand that that is what was going on, that's what he was telling everybody, was the ancient knowledge that he got from these other teachers. He was trying to tell everybody, look, what you see on this earth is temporary. It is not going to last. You're putting your faith, you're putting your power, you're putting your essence into these things that are going to fade away. And what are you doing? You're depleting yourself, your spirit. He said, what was that? Why store up your treasures on earth and not in heaven? And people, it hits me because I'll go back and I'll look at these scriptures and I'll think, man, this is exactly what he's talking about. But it wasn't just him. It was the mystics and the ones that came before him that were saying the same thing. So is that the devil? No. He was spreading the message that was already there, but in opening up people's eyes, because at that time, people were at a despair. They were They were wanting hope. They were crying, "Oh, give us a Messiah. Send us someone that's going to save us." And he's telling you, it's been here this whole time. You chose not to look at it. It's been in front of you. But now that a way has come, your eyes are still closed. You don't want to see. You're telling me you want it, but you don't want to do it. Just like him asking the rich man, give up everything that you own, your riches, your house, your glory, your friend, all that stuff that is pertinent to you on this fleshly, in this realm. Give it up and follow me. You want the way, you want it, you want what I have? Let go. He said, I can't do that. I got important stuff to do here, man. You don't understand. You want me to go walk around with these people looking like a bum? Nah. Because his mind was not ready. His mind was not ready. He was holding on to that material stuff. And that's the same way we are today. A lot of people are at that point. They don't want to let go. I know I keep going on and I'm going to finish up, but I keep getting these points coming up. Is I had a discussion with somebody and I said, hey, if these people are so religious and they love Jesus and they talk all this stuff about, earthliness and the flesh and, stripping it away and how sinful it is. And yet they live in these $10 million mansions with 12 rooms and 5 bathrooms and these golf courses and these tennis courts on it. But there's people that are starving in the street, in their neighborhoods and in their towns. Storing up treasures, folks, on earth. They are literally going against what the word of their God is telling them. And you're helping them. You're helping them. But like I said, if that is your choice to do that, by all means, go right on ahead. More power to you. That's not going to make you Christ-like. That's not going to get you closer to Christ. You got to understand something. Jesus was saying to his disciples, just like he was telling people on the mount when he was telling them, the same things that you see me do, you can do also. The same power I have, you have within you. You just don't realize it yet. Your mind is so focused on this, you're not seeing in here. You're not realizing that the power is within all of us. We are all sons and daughters of Christ, of the Creator, the Maker. The very essence of the universe is within us. It binds our soul to everything that we are in the cosmos. The power to manipulate, distort, change, and alter things by speaking them into existence is our very nature. We have the capabilities. It's just mastering and getting yourself to release from what is around us. This bondage of the flesh that's holding us mentally down. And that's what a lot of like I look every day and I deal with that every day. And as Sadhguru says is, when you wake up in the morning, realize something, that you are awake. You are here. You are alive. In a world of 6 billion people, you're alive. And thousands of other people did not wake up today. They will never get to experience another sunrise. They will never get to experience the love and the compassion of their parents or their sons or their daughters, their aunts, their uncles, their husbands, their wives, their children, their fathers, their mothers. They'll never be able to go outside and just smell and breathe fresh air and walk and do things that we're taking for granted every day while we are alive on this earth. I'm not telling you to go outside and start kissing the ground and worshiping trees. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to understand that you as a human, as a spirit being in this human flesh, that flesh takes for granted the very nature and the essence of who we are and what we have available to us. And waking up and realizing that, I am here. There's a purpose for me being here because I woke up today. Let me strive to make that better. Let me strive to find out, to seek that knowledge and understanding. One more day for me to be able to do that. One more day. I got another chance. But you know what? Right now, I could walk right outside that door and something happened. Something happened to me right now. But right now, in the essence of what I am, who I am, I'm okay. There are things I still need to get fixed, but if I have to, I'll choose to come back and redo this all over again. I've already done it once that I know of. And as I said, that's why it resonates so hard with me, is the reincarnation aspect of being able to come back and experience these things. The nature of that is real with me. That's my personal opinion. That's just me. That might not be for everybody. That might not be what everybody believes. That's fine. But as for me, I'm telling you right now, I know that I lived a past life. I was not able to finish my past life. So I needed to come back and figure this out. And if you haven't heard the story that I've told before on this podcast, my grandmother's sister and I are really, I love her to death. And every time I've seen her, she's been like, "Oh, mijo, I love you. I missed you so much. I can't wait to see." We just had this really, really good bond. And I have a good bond with all my dad's brothers and sisters, but I'm talking about their aunt, my grandmother's sister. I have a connection with all my family, but it's just, you have that connection with certain people, and you're just like, you click. I don't know why, but as I was in the military, she was stumbling across with my tia and my Nina, and she was like, they have hordes of pictures of everything, and it's like, man, where do you get that from? I've never seen that before. And they're like, oh no, I had that stashed away. But anyway, she was talking and she was just telling my tia, she's like, Mia, she was like, I came across this. And my Nina asked her, well, what is it? She goes, look at this picture. She was like, who do you think that is? She was like, you know how I'm so close to Mijo? And I love him to death. And she was like, it just was weird to me. She was like, it was like I know him from somewhere. And my Nina was like, where's the picture? And she was like, look, I found this today. So I'm going to show it to you. This picture is a picture of their brother, who in World War II was in the Army and served in I think it was the 10th Infantry Regiment, the Rainbow Division, and out of somewhere on the East Coast, New York or something. Their patch is the rainbow. It's a half rainbow, like a little arch. And he was killed in combat and received the Bronze Star for bravery above and beyond the duty. His squad came under attack. He flanked them, went around to engage the enemy so that way they could eliminate them and draw the enemy's fire. And he was killed in France, and he's buried there at the big cemetery in France. He was the same age I was when I went to combat, and I almost got killed, but I didn't. I survived and I made it. And this to me literally blows me away, because if you look at any of my pictures of me younger without my beard and me and my hair all done, shit you not, identical. And I'm going to show it to you right now, so you can take whatever you want to see. But As I said, this picture right here validated it for me. This is their brother who was killed in World War II. This validated to me that I was reincarnated because I had something I needed to finish. I didn't get to experience my life after that point. But my Theo, if he is, I'm not going to make sure, but like I said, I was told that this was their brother. I believe it's their brother or their cousin. He was killed in combat. And that's why I say that, to me, understand being able to realize the whole nature and aspect of who we are and why we're here, and the experiences that we live from day to day through birth to death is a learning aspect. So I pray that you find your answer on your journey. I pray that you realize your worth, seek the truth, seek the knowledge and understanding. And if you ever need anything, please get a hold of me, reach out to me, message me here on Seeker of the Unknown, okay, on Facebook, also on YouTube or X. So if you need to, get a hold of me and we'll talk and we'll figure something out. But always remember, you're not alone, and your worth is more than what you can understand. But please find it. Find your worth. Find where you are meant to be. Find what you are meant to do in this life, in this plane. But don't give up. And I thank you for coming along. Thank you for having this talk with me. It means a lot. I appreciate you, and we will get together again. And thank you, and I appreciate you. And please look into this stuff. Look into some books. Look into whatever it is that you need to help you progress and move forward in this path. And if there is anything that you need me to help you with, please do. Like I said, let me know, and we'll get it done. But thank you again for coming along and joining me on this. And I will see you and talk to you soon. Next episode, hopefully.